Her dad, Mark, stood in her kitchen with his arms crossed and said, "You're single, Emma. You don't need all this space. Your brother has kids." That was the moment Emma realized she wasn't his daughter. She was just a resource. Please stay with Emma as I tells you her story. And please don't forget to support our channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing with your loved one. Emma is 29, single, and just bought her first home. She worked 2 jobs for years, saving every penny. While others were enjoying weekends and vacations, she was working, always focused on one goal, buying her own place. And now she had it, a house she earned on her own. Her older brother, Jason, was the favorite. He had 2 kids, was recently divorced, and constantly in money trouble. No matter how many mistakes he made, their parents always helped him. One afternoon, their father Mark told Emma to give her house to Jason. He has kids and needs a stable place, he said, like it was a simple thing. But for Emma, it wasn't just a house. It was her life's work. When Emma said no, her father got angry. He started calling her selfish. Her mother, Linda, said she was being cold-hearted. Then the rest of the family got involved. Aunts, uncles, cousins. Everyone started calling Emma and pressuring her to do the right thing. Jason also joined in. He told her she was heartless, that she was letting his kids suffer. He made her out to be the villain. She felt completely alone. No one cared about her hard work. They only saw what she had and wanted it for someone else. But Emma didn't back down. She had always stayed quiet to keep the peace. But not this time. She stood her ground. They thought she would fold. They thought she would give in like always. But they didn't realize Emma had changed. She wasn't weak anymore. She had worked too hard to let anyone take her future away. And what they didn't expect was just how far she was willing to go to protect what was hers, and to make them regret ever treating her like she didn't matter. After Emma said no, her father Mark didn't stop. Instead, he began pushing harder. He visited her house almost every day, walking through the rooms like they weren't even hers. He would shake his head and say things like, "Jason has kids, Emma. You're single. You don't need all this space. Be a good daughter. Do the right thing." At first, Emma tried to stay calm. She thought maybe he'd stop if she stayed quiet, but it only got worse. Her mum, Linda, joined in. She called Emma selfish. "You're being heartless," she said during one visit. "Your brother is going through so much, and you're just thinking about yourself." Emma was shocked. She'd always tried her best to be a good daughter. She helped her parents whenever they needed anything. She never asked for help in return. And now, because she wouldn't give away her house, they were acting like she was the problem. The pressure kept building. Soon, Emma started getting phone calls from her aunts and uncle. Even cousins she hadn't spoken to in years were messaging her. They all said the same thing. "Jason has kids. He needs help. You should be there for your family." It felt like a trap. Everyone had picked a side, and it wasn't hers. No one asked how she felt. No one asked what this house meant to her. Then came Jason's turn. He called her one evening, his voice shaking. "I can't believe you," he said. "You're really going to let your own brother and his kids end up homeless? What kind of sister does that?" Emma was quiet for a few seconds. She wanted to scream, but instead she said, "I worked for this. I earned this. You don't get to take it from me just because you failed." Jason hung up. The guilt stayed. Emma started feeling completely alone. The same people who once cheered her on for working so hard now called her cold and greedy. She cried more in those few weeks than she had in years. Her phone buzzed with angry texts and guilt-filled messages. Her parents made her feel like a stranger in her own family. But no matter how much it hurt, Emma stayed strong. She reminded herself of the long nights, the double shifts, the skipped meals, and the years of sacrifice. That house wasn't just a building. It was her proof that she was more than what they thought she was. They were trying to break her down, to make her feel like the villain. But Emma had finally learned something powerful. Just because they were family didn't mean they were right, and she wasn't going to give up everything she built just to make them feel better. One afternoon, Emma got a strange call from her mortgage provider. The woman on the phone asked if Emma was moving forward with a deed transfer. Emma froze. "What deed transfer?" she asked, confused. The woman explained that someone had started paperwork to change the ownership of the house, and Emma's name wasn't on the new documents. Her stomach dropped. She had never asked for anything like that. She asked who had started it, and though the woman couldn't give full details, She said the request came with some very familiar names. Emma hung up, heart pounding. Only a few people knew her mortgage details. She knew exactly who it was. She drove straight to her parents' house. Her dad, Mark, was sitting in the living room. She walked in and asked him, "Did you try to transfer the house behind my back?" He didn't even try to lie. He looked her straight in the eyes and said, "This family comes first. Your brother needs it more than you." Emma couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her own father had started the legal process to steal the house she worked so hard for, and he wasn't even sorry. In that moment, something inside her broke. She wasn't just hurt, she was done. That night, Emma changed every lock in the house. She made sure no one could enter without her knowing. She closed her joint bank account with her parents. She updated every password, and the next morning, she found a lawyer. When she told the lawyer what happened, he was shocked. "This is forgery. It's illegal," he said. Emma nodded. "I want to make sure no one ever touches what's mine again." Her trust was completely destroyed. She had thought things couldn't get worse after the guilt and pressure, but this was betrayal on another level. Her own father had tried to take everything from her without even asking, without even caring. Emma had always been the quiet one, the peacemaker, but not anymore. Now she was ready to fight, not just for her house, but for herself. She realized she wasn't part of a family, she was part of a plan, and now she was going to end it. Emma came home from work one evening, tired and quiet, just wanting to shower and eat in peace. As she turned onto her street, something felt off. Her heart skipped when she saw her garage door wide open. That wasn't normal. She never left it open. She parked her car quickly and ran to check. Her chest tightened the moment she stepped inside. Boxes, bags, and random furniture were stacked in her garage. Things that weren't hers. Things that looked too familiar. Jason's belongings. Confused and furious, she rushed into her house. And there they were. Jason, her brother, sitting on her couch like he had just moved in, and across from him, her father, Mark, sipping coffee calmly, as if this was just another family visit. Emma's eyes darted around the room. Jason had his feet up. There were bags in the hallway, toys on the floor. Her space was being invaded. She stood frozen for a second. Then her voice cracked the silence. "What the hell is this?" Mark stood up slowly and said, "It's time. This is where he belongs now. You have the space. He has kids. We're doing what's right." Emma blinked, her jaw clenched. "You think you can just take over my home?" Jason shrugged. "You weren't using the garage, and it's just temporary." Her voice rose. "Get out, both of you, now." But they didn't move. They laughed. Mark even sat back down and said, "We're not going anywhere. You're making this harder than it needs to be." Emma's hands were shaking. Her mind raced. All the betrayal, the guilt trips, the lies, and now this. She walked out, locked herself in her car, and called the police. When the officer arrived, she explained everything. She showed proof that the home was hers. She pointed to the boxes in the garage, the people inside who refused to leave, the invasion that no one warned her about. The officer asked them to step outside. Jason argued. Mark tried to use his fatherly tone to sound reasonable, but Emma stood firm. "They broke into my home. I didn't invite them. I didn't agree to any of this." After some heated back and forth, they were told to leave. Jason cursed under his breath. Mark glared at Emma like she had betrayed him. As they walked away, Emma didn't feel relief. She felt rage. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a takeover, and it was just the beginning. That night, Emma stared at her ceiling, wide awake. Her home, her peace, her safety, it had all been violated, but she wasn't scared anymore. They wanted a war. Now they were going to get one. The next few days felt like a storm. Emma couldn't escape. It started with whispers from cousins, then cold texts from old family friends. Her father, Mark, had taken the fight public. He told everyone that Emma had heartlessly kicked out her own brother and 2 innocent children. He painted Jason as a struggling single father, just trying to give his kids a roof over their heads. And Emma, he made her look like a selfish, bitter woman who didn't care about her own blood. It didn't stop there. Her aunt posted on Facebook hinting about family members who forget where they come from. The post didn't name her, but everyone knew. Group chats lit up with judgment and pity, just not for her. Even church members she'd known since childhood started treating her like a stranger. She noticed the looks during Sunday service, the way people stopped talking when she entered a room, how no one sat beside her anymore. She hadn't expected support, but she didn't expect to be abandoned either. Every day felt lonelier than the last. Then, one afternoon, While she was at work, her father showed up, unannounced, loud and demanding. In front of her co-workers, he told her to do what's right, to stop acting like the enemy, and let her brother stay. Emma didn't say a word. She just asked security to escort him out. After that, something inside her snapped. She had been quiet for too long. She had tried to be respectful, to reason, to defend her boundaries peacefully. But now, with her name being dragged through the mud, her reputation torn apart, and her workplace being used to pressure her, she knew this had gone too far. She reached out to her lawyer again and explained everything: the lies, the harassment, the damage to her peace, and now her job. They began collecting screenshots, messages, even the Facebook posts. Everything would be documented. This was no longer just a family issue. It was defamation, it was harassment, and it was personal. Emma wasn't afraid of being the villain in their story anymore. If that's how they saw her, fine. But she was going to be a villain who fought back, with facts, with law, and with fire. They had crossed a line. Now, it was her turn. Emma was done playing nice. The moment her father stormed into her workplace, trying to shame her in front of strangers, she knew it was time to stop reacting and start fighting smart. She went straight to her lawyer, Megan, and laid everything out. Every message, every call, every post. Megan didn't waste time. She pulled up Jason's background, and what they found made Emma's jaw drop. Multiple evictions over the past few years, unpaid child support piling up, and restraining orders filed by his ex-wife. He wasn't just irresponsible, he was dangerous, unstable, and clearly not fit to raise 2 children alone, let alone claim someone else's house as his own. Megan got to work. She filed a cease and desist letter to both Jason and Mark, warning them to stop the harassment immediately. Then came the no contact order, legally demanding they leave Emma alone or face consequences. To make sure no one could ever touch her home again, Megan also filed documents to lock her property title, requiring Emma's direct approval before any changes could be made. There would be no more forged signatures, no more backdoor deals. Her house was legally sealed off. The final step came with a deep breath. Jason was officially served an eviction notice. Emma stood behind the curtain, watching through the window as a uniformed officer handed him the papers outside her driveway. Jason shouted, crumpled the paper in his hand, and stormed off. Emma didn't flinch. For the first time in weeks, she felt like she had control again. That night, her phone buzzed. It was a message from her dad. 4 words. "You'll regret this." She stared at the screen, emotionless. Once, those words would have shaken her. But now they just confirmed she was doing the right thing. Because in his eyes, she was only useful when she was silent, obedient, and giving. The moment she chose to protect what was hers, she became the villain. Emma saved the text, added it to the legal file, and blocked the number. She had no more energy for guilt or manipulation. Her silence was over, and her defense had begun. They wanted a war. She gave them one, with laws, with boundaries, and with 0 apologies. Emma knew the war wasn't over just because they got served papers. Something told her Jason and Mark weren't done trying to take what wasn't theirs. So she took the next step, installed cameras around her house, front and back, inside the garage, even near the windows. It felt paranoid at first, but a part of her needed proof, needed protection, and needed peace of mind. And it didn't take long before her instincts were proven right. One night, the cameras caught movement in her backyard around 2 a.m. When she checked the footage, her heart dropped. There they were, her own father and brother, dressed in dark clothes, snooping around like burglars. Jason was pacing near the fence, while Mark went straight to the side window. Then came the part that turned her fear into anger. Her father pulled out a crowbar and tried to pry the window open, like a common thief, like a stranger. She saved the footage immediately, backed it up in 3 different places, and drove straight to the police station the next morning. The officer watched the video silently, jaw tightening with every second. It didn't take long. Jason was arrested for trespassing. Mark, being older and with no criminal record, was given a formal warning. But now, both their names were in the system. This wasn't family drama anymore. This was criminal behavior. Emma felt a mix of relief and heartbreak. It was one thing to argue with family. It was another to catch them trying to break into your home like criminals. That night, She uploaded the footage anonymously to the internet with a simple title, "When Your Family Tries to Steal Your House." The video exploded. Comments poured in. People were shocked, outraged, heartbroken for her. Strangers began calling her brave. Some shared their own horror story. Others offered legal advice or just kind words. The video went viral in just a few days. Her dad's face was shared across social media, and people started recognizing him. His proud, tough dad image shattered overnight. Emma didn't respond to the attention. She stayed quiet, safe behind her walls and her truth. But deep down, she smiled. For once, the world saw what she'd been fighting all along. After the video went viral, Emma's quiet world turned loud overnight. Strangers from all over the country started sending her messages, some offering legal help, others just wanting to say they believed her. People thanked her for speaking up, for showing what so many had silently endured. And the more the video spread, the deeper the internet began to dig. Online users found old Facebook posts from her dad's account. In one, he proudly shared a photo of Jason and wrote, "Raised a man, not a princess." In another, he replied to a comment saying daughters are a burden, calling them a waste of investment. Screenshots flooded Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. The internet saw the truth behind the family image he had worked so hard to maintain. Public sympathy shifted quickly. People stopped seeing Emma as the cold-hearted sister and started seeing her as the survivor, the one who had the strength to stand up. Her story became a symbol for many, especially women, who were tired of being treated like second-class family members. She was no longer alone, but the fallout didn't stop there. Because of the video and the online attention, someone reported her brother's unstable living situation to child services. With his record and the new trespassing incident, he lost temporary custody of his kids. The court needed proof he could provide a safe and legal home. He had none. And her father, he'd been working a respected role in the local community centre. For years, he acted like a man of morals, preaching family values. But after his face was plastered online, and those old hateful posts came to light, the centre quietly fired him. No announcement, no farewell, just gone. Emma didn't celebrate their downfall, but she didn't feel sorry either. Actions have consequences, and for once, they weren't hers to bear. She stayed quiet, focused on her own healing, while the internet did what it does best, unmasking the lies people try to live behind. Through all the chaos, Emma held her head high, not because she wanted revenge, but because she finally had peace. Her voice was heard. Her side of the story was no longer just hers. It belonged to every daughter who was ever told she was less. One quiet evening, Emma heard a knock at her front door. It wasn't loud or angry, just slow, steady, almost sad. She looked through the peephole and saw her father standing there, alone. No Jason, no lawyers, no shouting crowd behind him. Just a tired old man, holding nothing but guilt in his eyes. She opened the door slightly, just enough to face him. He looked smaller than she remembered, not physically, but in presence. The man who once stood in her kitchen and told her she didn't deserve her own home now looked like someone who had lost everything and didn't understand how it happened. "You've humiliated this family," he said quietly, as if he was the victim in all of this. Emma didn't flinch. She looked him straight in the eyes and replied, "No, you did that when you treated me like property." There was silence. The words hit him harder than she expected. His face twitched, his shoulders sank, and for the first time, he didn't have a comeback. No lecture, no guilt trip, no defense, just silence. His mouth opened slightly, maybe to apologize, maybe to explain, but nothing came out. He looked around the house he once tried to steal for his son, the one he thought she didn't deserve. He looked at his daughter, not scared, not weak, not begging for his love. She was standing tall, calm, and completely done. And that was when it hit him. She wasn't afraid of him anymore. The control he used to have, the voice that used to shake her, meant nothing now. He finally saw her, not as the quiet girl he could push aside, but as a woman who had drawn a line and dared anyone to cross it. He took a step back, eyes wet, but refusing to cry. Maybe pride still clung to him, or maybe he just didn't know how to be anything else. Emma didn't wait for more. She stepped back inside and shut the door, quietly, but with finality. That was the last time she saw him. No more texts, no more surprise visits, no more guilt. That door wasn't just closed, It was locked for good, and for the first time, she felt free. Her life is quiet now, finally peaceful. The house that once felt like a battlefield is now her sanctuary. She renovated the walls, fixed what was broken, and built a strong new fence around the property, one that keeps trouble out and peace in. Where her brother's belongings once sat, there's now a small garden filled with flowers she planted with her own hands. It's not just a garden, it's proof that healing is possible. She started dating again, slowly and cautiously. Trust doesn't come easy after everything, but she's open to something real, something honest. She no longer tries to explain herself to anyone. Her silence says enough. She cut all ties with her father. No calls, no visits, nothing. Her brother sends the occasional letter, pretending to apologize while slipping in guilt. She doesn't read them. She just places them in a drawer that stays shut. The truth is simple. Just because someone shares your blood doesn't mean they care about you. Family isn't about title, it's about respect. And sometimes, the people you need to protect yourself from are the ones you once called your own. Walking away was never the betrayal. It was the only way to survive. Do you think she was right to cut off her father and brother completely? Or should she have tried to fix things one last time? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update.